We'll begin with a reign of terror. A few murders here and there. Even the moon's frightened of me, frightened to death. The whole world's frightened to death.
Hello, friends and fiends. Welcome to another edition of Blood and Guts, HHN, where we break down the blood and guts of Halloween Horror Nights. And with me, as always, is the fearless Matt. How's it going, Matt?
Fantastic, Adam. You know why?
Why is that?
Because we got more announcements.
Oh, not only do we have more announcements, they dumped them all on us, folks. They did all of them. We thought they were going to do it yesterday.
Yep.
We kind of had a feeling. So did everyone else, I believe. And then today, lo and behold, we thought there's not going to be anything. They'll wait till next week or maybe the one after. But what was it, about lunchtime? After lunchtime, we got all the announcements.
Yeah, it worked out perfectly too. Because I told my wife, kids, like we won't get nothing because they never release anything. I said it's been years and years since they've done a Friday announcement.
Right.
Lo and behold, boom.
Yeah. It's very rare for them to do a Friday. I know there was a couple of years where they did a hodgepodge where they did sometimes on a Monday,
Yeah.
Tuesday, even a Wednesday.
Yeah, but now, like I said, their bread and butter is usually Tuesday and Thursday. That's what you're looking for. And after that, you can normally lay your head and rest. But
Right.
this time they decided to give us some gifts.
That's right, and we got a lot to talk about tonight, so let's go ahead and dive right into it. We got house announcements and scare zones as well, a little bit of food items, a little bit of an idea of the merch. You're really not going to see a lot of that until the tribute store opens officially. Right. I think it's August the 20th or 30th or something like that, but let's dive right into these houses, folks.
Yep, so the first house we have is when you're walking down the street, according to the latest speculation map, they have not released the official guide or map yet, so
Right.
take some of these with a grain of salt. It may change around the locations, but they're usually pretty good about it. So the first one we have on the listing is the Yeti Campground Kills.
Yeah, Yeti. So we're getting another Yeti house. Pretty excited for this one. It's going to be, all their Yeti houses seem to be pretty awesome.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I know one good thing is like the setting is going to be in the 1950s and based around a campground, so like I said,
Yep.
that should be a good one.
not sure if it'll be a cold house yet or not, or
Yeah.
we're yet to find that out.
But then the next house that got released today with its own trailer was The Exorcist Believer, which is based on that new Blumhouse movie that comes out in October. So
Right.
that one, the gist of it obviously is there are going to be two girls that are possessed in this one. So you'll get double the possession, double the scares, hopefully. But we can actually talk about that trailer today. It had the jogger coming out, and it still talked more about the legend, which we can assume is the icon, Dr. Oddfellow. And we'll touch on that with the scare zones, but you'll just see a lot of Oddfellow tied into everything.
Right. And this one, I don't remember where they said this was going to be, up close to the front somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe over there by where Halloween was last year. I can't quite remember exactly.
Yeah, I know it's close to that area. Moving on then, number 3, we got the Blood Moon Dark Offerings house, and it's going to be like set in New York as well. This one might be where Halloween and Exorcist is just a little bit before it, based on the spec map. So
Right.
we know this one's according to the synopsis is going to be based on villagers that are wanting to harvest your soul to the moon. So
Yeah, a blood moon in a village. I believe it's colonial time. So I'm curious to see how they play with the sets on this one.
Yep.
See what we
Looking forward
get
to
there.
that. Then after that, we have Dueling Dragons: Choose Thy Fate. So
Yeah.
this one's a good nostalgia nod for all you Universal lovers that miss the old roller coaster from Islands of Adventure days.
Right from the opening of Islands.
Yeah, exactly. So you can get wet your palate with this one. I know it's according to the spec map, it's going to be based where like Chupacabra and Pier was last year, somewhere in that area. So it should be a decent sized studio for it.
Should be, and it also says choose your path, which I know in the old Dueling Dragons, it did allow you to choose a path, fire or ice.
Right.
And I remember riding that ride. I have a very vivid memory of that, and I love the ride, so I'm curious to see how they pull off this house.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So then the next house, then of course, is the one they've already done the drop for, which is Stranger Things 4. So looking to fight off Vecna's curse, and like I said, it's going to be in that same area where Chupacabra and pier was last year. So back in that back corner, according to the speculation map.
Yeah, right under the Rip Ride, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun for that area. Moving along, then had the house that was announced first thing last year back in Halloween, the Chucky house.
Chucky. Yeah, a little more details on this one.
Yeah.
Came out a little more synopsis.
Yeah, so this one, the house basically says that Chucky's going to hijack his own haunted house and hopefully kill some patrons when they're in there. So
Yeah.
that will be fun. It'll be of course, it'll be campy. It's going to be a fun house, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be hopefully a lot of animatronics, some puppets, some live actors, and so let's see what they do with that.
And the good thing is about this one, if the speculation's right, it's going to be back there where they had the split house last year. So it didn't mention anything about the season, so I don't know if it's going to have its own storyline or not, but it's still going to be in that area where the Fast and Furious queue is, if we can trust that speculation map.
Yeah, and it'll break it up. If they do the 2 seasons, that'll break it up nicely. So
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
should be interesting to see.
So then after that, we have the hero of the event, the icon. It's going to be Dr. Oddfellow's Twisted Origins.
Yeah.
So we know this one's going to be a circus house, kind of like seeing the origin of Jack. I don't know if Jack will make an appearance or not. Obviously, we don't know that yet.
We've seen him in some promotional poster that they had with a QR code, and supposedly like a traveling carnival circus or like a freak shows and oddities kind of thing.
Right.
So
I mean, that will be fun. That's going to be located back behind according to the spec map, kind of where Scary's was back in HHN 30. Like they didn't really use that area last year.
Yeah. Probably because the Kid Zone, what is it? Is the Kid Zone right? Isn't that what it's
Yeah,
called?
where they're building DreamWorks now.
Yeah, that DreamWorks, it's a closed, walled off. They're working on that. So obviously that access through Curious George and all that stuff is
It's gone.
It's gone now.
I mean, it'll probably back in the future, but yeah, it's off limits this year.
Right.
But after that, we have the Darkest Deal, which will be on the side, I believe, where Bugs was last year.
Yep.
And with that one, I mean, I love the synopsis behind this one, how it's a guy coming at the crossroads to sell his soul to the devil.
Yeah.
So
a little bit of Robert Johnson lore for you blues lovers out there. I'm curious to see this one. I know that BioReconstruct does have an aerial photo of this one, and there's an old, like the tin roof, juke joint type of roadhouse that you would see in those old
you got the
Dust
old
Bowl,
outhouse with the crescent moon.
Yeah, the outhouse there with the crescent moon. So give that a check on your socials, and I'm definitely curious to see how they pull some of these off.
Me too. Like I said, I love the fact that one's set in the 20s. So
yeah, a lot of period houses this year. Period piece houses. 40s, 50s, 20s.
Yep.
So it's they've been known to knock it out of the park with some of those. So.
Yep. So then moving right along, then on the side where we had the Descendants of Destruction last year.
I believe it was Descendants.
Yep. We have The Last of Us, and so we know that's one that they previously announced about a month and a half ago. So we already discussed that one a little bit, but. We know that's going to be based off the video game and not the show, so I know they couldn't secure the rights to the show, but the video game in itself is awesome. So to see those clickers. Yeah,
I'm curious how they're going to do them sets, and I'm curious how this map might change, to where this house, might appear in a tent, but then maybe transferred to a soundstage. I don't know, But that would be great to have all that room for the sets.
If it does end up being in that one, it works well because, like I said, when they had the Descendants, you had the subway trains where you could see as far as the eye could see. So they can definitely make it work. So
and with their history of apocalyptic houses, the Seeds of Extinction, the Descendants, several other apocalyptic houses they've done, they have a pretty good grasp on that, so they can, definitely transition that.
Absolutely. And the last but certainly not least, we have the Universal's Monsters Unmasked.
Oh, yeah.
So this one definitely is going to be a fun one. You have the Invisible Man, Hunchback, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
The Phantom.
And then it's going to take place in the catacombs in Europe. So
over in Paris.
Definitely looking forward to seeing that Gothic setting on that.
Yep. And as you guys know from our previous videos, Invisible Man is one of our favorites, my personal favorite. So I'm curious to see how they handle that. And also, Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that whole drink the potion. I'm hoping they have the green bubbling potion with the smoke and they do a transformation piece, maybe even an animatronic. I would love to see it.
Yep. So. And that one, according to the speculation map, it's going to be somewhere over in the Hollywood area. I can't remember exactly what entrance it had.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. This year's going to be funky because a lot of the areas are closed off and Minions Land is there. A lot of things are not going to be happening there that previously were
Right.
with the Pumpkin Lord Scare Zone.
And I mean, I know obviously that nothing's really been confirmed, but I know the rumor is that maybe Illumination has some type of deal with them where they don't want any of the scare zones in that particular park.
Right, but then you have the Death Eaters, which is crazy flip flop because Rowling didn't want the Scare Zone,
Right.
and now you're getting the Death Eaters.
Yep.
Over there.
Exactly.
So.
That'll be great. So moving on to the scare zones then, according to the spec map, they're going to move the first scare zone a little bit more towards the entrance, but then you'll have Dr. Oddfellow's collection of horror. And this won't be exciting because, like I said, since he is the icon, and one thing I love about all these scare zones is he has a hand in every single one of them.
Yeah, it ties it all together. There's a lore that ties it all together.
And I love when they do their scare zones like that. Like I think back to HHN 30. When it's kind of like a hodgepodge. Every area was its own thing and just did its own thing. I mean, it's still nice when you go through it, but it's nice to have something that just ties everything together.
Yeah, and this one will be is probably a lot like last year too. You'll have what they do is they take characters from each scare zone and kind of throw them into that front one to kind of get you ready for what you're about to see, kind of get you amped and pumped for the event. So that'll be pretty interesting to see.
Then after that, moving on down, like heading towards New York way, at least according to the spec map. Like I said, this is based on the latest spec map. That these scare zones could be in different areas. But going off that, we have Vamp 69, Summer of Blood. So, I mean, if you love vampires, that's definitely going to whet your appetite for that. So
throw back to the Vamp 85, and then they had a Vamp. I think there might have even been another one that I can't quite remember.
Yeah, I can't quite remember them, but I know the sets, seeing them already going up and seeing the stages where it kind of looks like Woodstock.
Yeah, it's going to be
awesome.
It's going to be good. There's probably some good music coming from that scare zone.
Oh,
this
absolutely. Year. And moving on, then we have Shipyard 32, The Horrors Unhinged. So I know this will be over in San Francisco, and just kind of hearing like the backstories on it. Seems like it's going to be a real treat for us on that one.
Yeah, and rumor is it's going to be similar to the pier, because at first it was kind of called like Sirens or something along those lines. So you got like Sirens of the Deep, so you're going to definitely, and it's supposed to take place in the 40s. So if you got a period piece scare zone, some good music, hopefully some good characters to see here, some good makeups in this zone.
And moving right along, just going back and touching what you're speaking of, if you're over in that area, then obviously you're going to see the Death Eaters in Harry Potter world. And like I said, J.K. Rowling, I don't know if they cut another deal or she finally decided to bend, but that's going to be awesome seeing them roam around Harry Potter land. Yeah,
and the special effects, with the wands illuminating. I believe it's green. They do green.
I think so.
I believe it's a green color. I'm not caught up with it, but
but that'll be a whole lot of fun. Like I said, because I know we like to break it up a little bit, go hit some coasters right in the middle, so being able to roam through Harry Potter land, see those Death Eaters, that'll be a welcome addition.
And Nocturne Alley is great for that. So we'll see some good action over there.
Absolutely. And then moving on through them, once you get through Simpsons Land, they're going to have the Megan Horde. So I know that'll be for the fans of the movie Megan. At least you'll have your appetites touched a little bit with this, where you can see her roaming around Simpsons Land, kind of taking the place of the Chainsaw Crew, where they're waiting around to jump scare you when you come around the corner.
Yeah, probably doing some dance routines, some choreographed movements. So you'll have that. And I haven't heard of a chainsaw routine this year, but they might have one in waiting.
Because that's normally like a staple. Like I said, I hadn't seen anything in the spec maps, but like I said, I wouldn't be shocked one bit if we didn't get a crew.
I'm sure you'll probably get some also at the beginning of the Oddfellow. There'll be some circus freaks with chainsaws there.
Then moving on down, then we have Jungle of Doom Expedition Horror. And this is one, like, the set pieces look great, but it's one where we're always like, it's always hard to pull off a scare zone there because it's so narrow. Everybody's trying to funnel through.
Yeah, Central Park is very narrow, and it becomes a bottleneck. And then you got the people taking the videos, picture selfies, all that stuff.
Just clogging up the lanes.
So it's a great scare. Like Scarecrow last year was great. They built a barn.
Yeah.
They brought in vehicles. They had some really good banjo music, and it was great. I loved it. It was almost like a house in a zone last year. So I'm curious to see how they handled this one. This year it's also tied to Dr. Oddfellow.
Yep.
Where he's apparently gone in a jungle and practiced spells on plant life and things like that. This is the lore. And so apparently he turned the Plant Life Evil or something along those lines. So we're curious to see how they.
Yeah, it'll be a good treat because I mean that's normally too where they're really good at hiding their scare actors. Like I said, they'll have them blend in with the surroundings there.
You get a lot of smoke in there, a lot of fog. You get a lot of lighting, low light, and it's really good.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. And then the last scare zone is the one I'm looking forward to is the Dark Zodiac. So I mean, love the lore of the Zodiac Killer. Like I said, so just seeing some pieces like this and how Dr. Oddfellow is going to have his hand in it.
Yeah, all the signs are going to be transformed into something evil.
Yep, and then having that in Hollywood. Hollywood always seems like to have really good success when it comes to their scare zone. So
especially last year with Graveyard was just if they could do for this zone what they did for Graveyard, Diddley, and Rest last year, then I can't wait to see it because I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm a Leo, so I'm looking forward to seeing some crazy lion human hybrids and Cancer, right? Yep. So we got this crab, and it comes out, and who knows how they're going to pull it off. But I'm excited to see the makeups and the costumes for these.
Yep, and one of my favorite things about the Hollywood Scare Zone is though it's a little bit more wide open.
Yeah.
So it's not like you can actually kind of sit back and take in the surroundings. And I mean, there's other scare zones where you can do that as well, but it just seems like that one, especially if you go there first to beat the rush of the crowd that's heading in towards New York.
Yeah.
You can really get a good experience out of that with the scare actors.
And last year as well, speaking on, we mentioned that Scarecrow was almost like a house as a scare zone with a lot of boo scares.
Yeah.
I found that I got a couple of boo scares when I was in Hollywood last year.
Absolutely.
So they definitely have the capability. What I don't like is when they have them on the stages, where they have here's the stage with a vampire, here's a stage with Eddie. I don't care for that because it seems to take it to, like the personal, in your face feeling out.
Well, that's one good thing about Hollywood. They normally have a good mixture. Like I said, they'll have some stages there, but like then they have everybody roaming around to where if you are fixated on the stage, boom, they're right next to you. Exactly. So that right there, then that does cover the scare zones. Like I said, as far as the houses and scare zones go, I think we're going to have a fantastic lineup this year.
We're very excited about this lineup, and what we're going to do also is we're going to do our hype lists for you guys.
Yes.
So that you can, and these hype lists will be where they fall individually, your 1 through 10 and my 1 through 10. We're going to go ahead and give those to you and kind of go into a little bit of detail about why they fall, where they fall. And then also once we get back from the event, we're going to rank them 1 through 10 and show you how they've changed, how they've evolved as the event has gone on.
Sounds good. Moving right along then, we have the only show this year because last year during the hurricane, the Lagoon show got damaged and they still have not fixed that, or they may not be planning on fixing that. I honestly cannot remember the last update as far as that goes. So the only show they'll have is the Nightmare Fuel Revenge Dreams, which will be back there in the old Bill and Ted stage on the way towards the Men in Black ride. But
they might pull another one out and just announce it later on, kind of down the road, because now that they've got the meat and potatoes announced, they could very well do another show. And I've heard whispers that there might be another smaller show happening somewhere else, but then again, those are just whispers. I don't know to be confirmed.
So take with a grain of salt.
Exactly.
But, I mean, as far as Nightmare Fuel, that's not really my cup of tea, but it's great because it gets people in out of the lines into a show and opens up more space for the houses, so that's always a good thing. I mean, if you love Cirque du Soleil and you've never seen the show, then you'll get a lot of enjoyment out of this show.
Pyrotechnics and dancing and they have the trapeze, the spinners, like all that good stuff. If you're into that, you're going to really like this.
Yep, exactly. Like I said, do a lot of great aerial stunts. Like I said, it's a good show for those that really appreciate, like I said, the Cirque du Soleil. Just not something that's never really been appealing to me. So I look at it as a time if people go into that show, then I can either go hit a ride or I can go to a haunted house.
Yeah, we'll be on the Mummy. Thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly. So last but not least, then we did have some more merchandise drop. We had some cool HHN themed backpacks and T-shirts, and then they also dropped some Exorcist merchandise as well, which is some more T-shirts as well.
Yeah.
But keep your eye out. I know they'll do another dump where they'll have some more merchandise that comes out as we go along.
And the merch will probably hit officially a little by little, but it'll hit when the Tribute store does its open. It's probably, I think it's around August the 20th or 30th or something along those lines. Especially it'll open for pass holders.
Yeah.
That's when you'll see most of your merch go on. But if you're have your eye on some merch and you decide, I don't want to spend 75, 80, 100 bucks on something, and you want to get a good deal, a little insider tip from us is wait until about October the 10th. Wait a little bit into October and go ahead and go onto the official site, and a lot of that stuff will be reduced, 10, 15, 20, 30% even, sometimes even more than that. So
yeah, but I mean, once the clearances start hitting on, that's when you better pull the trigger. If not, it'll get gone quick.
Oh yeah, but that's just a little tip from us to you.
Yep. And,
but overall, yeah, it's going to be a good. I think it's a good year. I mean, we're both really excited for this lineup. We're going to do the tour. Like I said before, we're going to do the tour when we're there, so we'll have plenty of footage from the Behind the Screams tours with the Lights on tour for you guys to check out, and we'll have some juicy details for you to check out.
Yep, and so overall, like I said, I think we're going to get us a very good event. Like the houses top to bottom,
I feel good about
look
it.
fantastic. The scare zones, like I said, every one of them look great. Merchandise looks good. So overall, this is going to be a great event. So leave us a comment. Let us know, what house are you most excited for? What scare zone are you most excited for? Is there something you're not as excited about? Let us know. But also make sure you like this video. Yeah. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends.
That's right, boys and ghouls. And as always, stay foggy and remember. Remember.
Blood and guts, HHN.